For more than a century, motorcycles have shaped culture, speed, and the way humans move. But behind every powerful modern machine lies a surprising story that began in the late 19th century, a time when engines were unstable, roads were rough, and the idea of riding a two-wheeled motorized vehicle sounded almost impossible. Yet, in 1885, a German inventor named Gottlieb Daimler dared to attempt what no one else imagined. He built a wooden machine with an explosive internal combustion engine, a prototype so strange that most people at the time couldn't decide whether it was a bicycle, a cart, or a dangerous experiment. This machine would later be known as the Daimler Reitwagen, the riding car. Today, we travel back into the past to uncover how this odd invention became the world's first motorcycle and sparked a transportation revolution. Gottlieb Daimler was not born into wealth or privilege. He started as an apprentice gunsmith, learning precision, metalwork, and discipline skills that would later define his legacy. After years of studying engineering in Germany, Daimler traveled through Europe, exposing himself to new technologies during the peak of the Industrial Revolution. By the 1870s, he became convinced that the future of machines depended on compact internal combustion engines. At that time, engines were massive, unreliable, and unsafe for everyday use. But Daimler believed that if the engine could be made small and powerful enough, it could change transportation forever. This obsession pushed him deep into experimentation. Even when others told him it was pointless, his determination laid the foundation for the world's first motorcycle. Together with engineer Wilhelm Maybach, Daimler began designing a revolutionary new engine they called the grandfather clock engine. It earned this nickname because its tall, narrow shape resembled the body of a standing clock, unlike steam engines, which required heavy boilers and long heating times. This new internal combustion engine was lightweight and capable of fitting into smaller machines. The goal wasn't to build a motorcycle yet. Daimler simply wanted to prove that his engine could work in different forms of transportation. He tested it on boats, wooden carriages, and even early prototypes of automobiles. Each experiment brought him closer to the moment where history would change forever. Little did he know that this small engine would spark an entire industry. In 1885, Daimler decided to build a machine to test the engine on land. The design was unusual: two large wooden wheels, a wooden frame, a leather saddle, and an engine mounted directly beneath the seat. To keep it from falling, Daimler added two smaller side wheels, making it look like a cross between a bicycle and a primitive motorbike. He called it the Reitwagen, meaning riding car, when it first started. The engine produced loud pops and vibrations that made onlookers step back in fear. Yet this strange wooden contraption represented the birth of an entirely new category of vehicle: the motorcycle. From this moment, transportation history began to shift. The first official test ride of the Reitwagen took place in November 1885. Daimler's teenage son, Paul Daimler, climbed onto the wooden saddle, a brave decision considering the machine had never been tested at full speed. The engine roared to life, and the vibration shook the entire frame. As Paul accelerated, the Reitwagen wobbled, sputtered, and produced bursts of smoke, but it moved. For the first time in history, a human was riding a gasoline-powered two-wheeled vehicle. The test lasted only a short distance, but it proved something incredible. The internal combustion engine could power personal transportation. This moment marked the true birth of the motorcycle era. The public reaction to the Reitwagen was mixed. Some people were amazed that such a small machine could move without horses or steam. Others believed it was too dangerous, too noisy, or simply pointless. Newspapers described it as a mechanical curiosity, implying that it would never become a useful invention. Critics argued that no one would ever trust a vehicle powered by explosions happening beneath the seat, but Daimler ignored all criticism. He wasn't trying to build a commercial product. His goal was to prove that the engine worked, and he succeeded. The skepticism of the era only made the Reitwagen more legendary in the years to come. The Reitwagen itself was not mass-produced, and was not intended to be ridden daily. It was simply a test platform. However, the concept inspired engineers across Europe. Within a decade, companies in Germany, France, and the United Kingdom began developing their own motor-powered bicycles. These new machines featured metal frames, rubber wheels, better engines, and improved control systems. The idea spread rapidly, and by the early 1900s, motorcycles were entering competitions, military service, and eventually commercial markets. The Reitwagen was the spark that lit the fuse, pushing humanity forward into a new age of speed and freedom. Daimler and Maybach went on to build engines that would power cars, boats, and even early aircraft. Their innovations laid the foundation for Daimler Motorengesellschaft, a company that would eventually evolve into Mercedes-Benz. The legacy of the Reitwagen lives on, not because it was a perfect machine, but because it was the first real attempt to merge a compact gasoline engine with personal mobility. Without this experiment, the development of motorcycles and even cars might have taken a completely different path. The courage to build something impossible is what makes the Reitwagen unforgettable. The original Reitwagen was destroyed in a fire in 1903, but replicas have been rebuilt using Daimler's original notes and measurements. These replicas are displayed in transportation museums in Germany and serve as physical reminders of how far motorcycle technology has come. Visitors often stare in disbelief at the wooden frame and odd side wheels, knowing that modern motorcycles, sleek, powerful, and aerodynamic, all began with this strange and fragile experiment. The Reitwagen shows that innovation often starts with unconventional ideas. Today, motorcycles symbolize freedom, adventure, and engineering excellence, but the origin of all this lies in a noisy wooden machine built by two men who believed in the power of innovation. The Daimler Reitwagen might not look like much today, yet it triggered a technological revolution whose effects are still shaping the world. From city scooters to racing superbikes, everything traces back to the moment Paul Daimler took that first shaky ride in 1885. History often begins quietly, with strange experiments in small workshops, and sometimes, those experiments change the world forever.